Alright everyone, back at the lake. First playable hand, I look down at ace jack 5-4 double suited under the gun. I make it 20 and there are 2 callers, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace 6-5 rainbow. I bet 60 and there's 1 caller, so we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings a king of clubs. I put him on some kind of a straight draw, so I go ahead and push and he quickly makes the call. He asks if I want to run it twice and I tell him yes, so we're going to 2 rivers. First river brings a 6, second river brings a jack. I turn over my hand and my opponent mucks, so we're taking it down here. I look down at ace king king 2, single suited in early position. Folds to me, I open a 20 and there are 2 callers, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes king a3 rainbow. I bet 40 and both my opponents fold, so we take it down. Here look down at ace 10 9-4 double suited on the button. There are a couple early position limps. Folds to me, I make it 30 and there are 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace queen 9 all clubs. Checks to me and I check as well, so we're still going 4 ways to a turn. Turn brings a 7. Everyone checks to me again. I decide to bet 30, just kind of take a stab at it, and there's 1 caller, so we're going heads up to a river. River brings another queen. My opponent's counting out some chips. He bets 115 and I fold. About an hour and a half into the session, I look down at ace queen 10-7 single suited in the cutoff. There's an early position limper. Folds to me, I make it 25 and there are 2 callers, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes king 7-7 with 2 spades. Early position bets 50. I put everything in the middle. Button repushes over the top and the early position player calls, so we're going heads up to 2 runouts. First runout brings a 4 of spades. River brings a 4 of clubs. Second runout brings an 8 of clubs and a 6 of diamonds on the river. I turn over my hand and the button actually turns over king 8-3, so he flopped the over full and he's going to scoop the entire pot. Shortly into my first rebuy, I looked down at ace queen jack 7 double suited in the hijack. The action player that was a couple seats to my left is now a couple seats to my right. He opens to 20 after there was 1 limper. I 3-bet to 75 as he only has $80 and I'm just trying to isolate him. Over to the limper who makes the call, and this player calls as well, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. Action actually checked all the way to the river after the flop came 6-4-2. Turn brought another 2. River brought a king. No point of really bluffing into a dry side pot, so I checked, and the all-in player turned over king queen 10-7, so he's going to take it down here. Shortly after topping up another 300, I looked down at queen 10-9-6 double suited in the small blind in a straddled pot. Over to the cutoff who makes it 40. Folds to me, I call, and everyone else folds, so we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes 5-4-3 with 2 clubs. I check and the cutoff checks back, so we're still going heads up to a turn. Turn brings an 8, and obviously still don't have anything, but having some relevant blockers, I decide to bet 45 and he calls, so we're going heads up to a river. River brings a 2, putting a 1-liner on the board. I decide to keep telling the story and bet 85 and he folds, so we're taking it down. Here look down at ace jack 9-8 single suited under the gun. I make it 20 and only the button calls, so we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes 9-3-2 with 2 clubs, and this player on the button, he likes to call pretty wide there, and he does bet pretty often when it's checked to him, so I do just that. He does take the bait and bets 30. I make it 130 and he quickly folds, so we take it down. Here look down at 10-9-8-7 single suited in early position. Folds to me, I make it 20 and there are 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace 8-7 with 2 spades. Checks to me and it is a pretty good flop for my range, but not having any spades makes my hand significantly weaker here, so I check. Over to the button who bets 60. Folds to me and I make the call, so we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings a 2. I check to my opponent and he counts out some chips and bets 205 over to me. So this player on the button likes to play a variety of hands. He's on the button, and the fact that I don't have spades makes me lean towards him just kind of having maybe a 1 pair holding with some kind of a spade draw. So for those reasons, I just push over the top and he quickly calls. He asks if I want to run it twice. I agree, so we're going to 2 rivers. River on the top brings a 10. River on the bottom brings an ace, so pretty horrible runouts on both boards. I turn over my hand and my opponent turns over ace 10-10-8, so he had top 2 pair on the flop and had me in pretty bad shape, so he's going to take it down here. Shortly after my third and final rebuy, I look down at ace 7-5 single suited in the small blind in a straddled pot. Over to the cutoff who limps. Folds to me, I make it 45 and there are 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes 10-8-3 with 2 spades. I check. Big blind bets 100, folds to me, and I also fold. Early after the previous hand, I look down at ace 5-3 double suited in middle position. Folds to me, I make it 20, and there are 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes 8-7-2 rainbow. Checks to me, I bet 35. Folds to the big blind who check raises to 150, and I fold. About an hour goes by after the previous hand. I look down at King Queen 6-2 double suited in middle position over to the action player a couple seats to my right who makes it 20. Folds to me, I call. Another caller behind over to the button who makes it 100. Action player calls, and here it's not really a great hand, but at this point I'm kind of just got chipped down a little bit and I just decided to go with it. So I put everything in the middle. Other player folds over to the button who calls, and the action player calls as well. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. Action actually checks through the entire way. After the flop comes King Jack 3 with 2 clubs. Turn brings a 9. River brings a queen, putting a 1-liner on the board. And I turn over my hand and we're good. So taking it down here. I go card dead for a bit after the previous hand until I look down at Ace Queen Jack 5 double suited in the cutoff. There's an early position limp. Hijack makes it 25. I 3-bet to 90. Folds back to the hijack who makes the call. So we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes 9-6-2 with 2 diamonds. Hijack now puts enough to put me all in, and of course this is definitely good enough of a flop to call, so that's what I do, and we're going heads up to a run out. Turn brings another 6. River gives us some help with a queen, but my opponent turns over King 6-3, so he had the overpair, turn trips, and he's going to take it down. What's up guys, Wayne back here with you. So today I was in for 1200, out for 0. If you haven't already done so, check out my previous video, I'll link it up here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.